Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. How are you all today? Welcome back to SGC. Well, should be welcoming me back. You all should have been attending SGC these few months. So I finished the retreat last Saturday. Then decided to start only today. So for the past few months, how has everybody been? So on Tuesday we had the meditation class, and on Sunday evening I had a catch up with the volunteers online. So I asked them how their 3 months was, and also how their practice has been for the past 3 months. So, but for Facebook class, for this SGC on Facebook, a bit different, a bit tough to ask you all how your 3 months was, because there's no direct interaction. You can also write message in the chat, leave the chat comments below. You can also send a private message to share with me how your practice has been. But I hope everybody has been well. I like to take the opportunity to dedicate the merits of the practice for the 3 months, whatever merits accrued. Not much, but whatever merits accrued to extend to you and your family, that you be safe, be healthy, be well and happy. Extending to all sentient beings, may all be safe, healthy, well and happy. So some students have texted me to welcome me back. The truth is I never left Singapore. So most people, when they heard that I was off on a retreat, they thought that I'm away in some other countries, but this period nobody can go out. I mean, quite impossible. So I didn't go out. And in a way it's to break away from the notion that we must do retreats overseas. This is also part of the reason why we call the urban retreat the urban retreat. To in a way to promote this notion that we can have retreats where we are in urban Singapore. We don't have to run away to some place. Now, granted, I have the monastery I was ordained in is smack in the middle of the Kit Carson National Reserve Forest, so it is like in the middle of nowhere. And the various centers that I've been to for retreats in the past were also very secluded. So I do see value in having retreats in remote places, where you are away from your usual schedule, and also away from your daily activities, so that you kind of break away from your usual habits, and perhaps in that process to build up new habits. But at the same time, it's also important to foster wholesome habits right where we are. Because if we can do that, then we can persist for a long time. Otherwise, we see people, or we hear from people that, time to go for a recharge, right? So Why is there a need to recharge? It's because our current environment is draining. Yeah? It doesn't promote our growth. If our current environment promotes growth, then there's no need to go somewhere to recharge, isn't it? Yeah. Which kind of brings us to today's topic. Yeah, today's topic is do what you love or love what you do. Yeah. So I have the OneNote. Wait, I've not used this for a while, so got to set it up a bit. Okay, so let me see. I might not really write much today also, but just so you know, I have the title set up here. Okay, so this is the title for today. Do what you love or love what you do? Yeah, so that's the question. So some students, when they message me to welcome me back, they asked me how the retreat was, and they were quite eager to hear from me, to share my discovery, so to speak. Yeah, to hear from me how the retreat was, and is there any insight or or whatever I got from the retreat. I've already shared twice actually. Once last Sunday with the volunteers. You get first-hand sharing when you are one part of the volunteers. Quick sign up. Then I shared with the Tuesday class. So I thought today if I share again, then those who have heard it would feel like, this Sifu damn low, so they keep repeating. Yeah. But all in, I will just say that the retreat went smoothly, and it is not 闭关. Don't be mistaken. A lot of students, when they hear that I'm off for a retreat, then they're like, oh, sadhu, Sifu go for 闭关. Yeah, no, I didn't 闭关. In a sense that, of course, to some people, what I did was kind of like 闭关 also. But I don't consider it as 闭关 because it wasn't like full seclusion, so to speak. Not that I was having counseling or classes. I stopped all classes, I stopped all counseling. But in between, I did get invited to do a memorial service for the father of a student who passed away. And then there was a few times where the weekly Dana student, yeah, he came over, and then so I reduced the number of visits, but it's not full seclusion. Yeah. So I don't call it 闭关. If you had thought that Sifu was doing a 闭关, that's your misconception. It's just a normal retreat. Yeah. In a way, I'm trying to downplay it because compared to the past retreats I did, it is one of the most relaxing one. Yeah. The last time I actually did a 3 months retreat was back in 2008. Yeah. Time flies. 12 years ago. And prior to that was 2007. And of course, back in US, our daily routine is like a retreat. So the thing is, I'm quite happy with this retreat. Yeah, nonetheless, quite happy because it helps me to love what I do, and at the same time do what I love. Yeah, and I think if there's anything I want to share with you all is to find your own balance. Yeah. So, as I've shared before, it's not difficult during a retreat to practice, to do super intensive practices. Yeah. In the past 2-3 months retreat I did, easily 10-12 hours a day, sitting, walking, sitting, walking. I say this not boastfully, because if you ask around most people when they do like fairly intense retreat, it's easily 10 over hours to 12 hours. And I say this not to trivialize it, but I say this in a sense that while it was kind of easy for me, yeah, easy not because I'm super good, but easy because when you're in the retreat center, there's nothing else left to do. Yeah, besides doing your practice, there's nothing else to do. Yeah. So the environment is very good. Yeah. So you just do your practice. It's just like when you come for the retreats that I organize or anybody else organize. If you arrange 9 hours a day, then like it or not, you're going to do somewhere close to 9 hours a day. If I organize and I arrange for it to be 6 hours a day, then I'm going to do minimally 6 hours a day. No big deal. And you may do it for a 1-day retreat, you may do it for a 3-day retreat, 7 days, 10 days, 3 weeks, 1 month, or 3 months, or in some traditions they do 3 years, 3 months, 3 days retreat. Yeah. And I think it's meaningful to do that once in a while. Yeah. To really have that time to quieten. But to me, what I really like about this retreat is to find my own balance that I can sustain after that. Yeah. So that's to say, perhaps even more importantly, is that within the retreat you find a certain regime, yeah, certain set of practices that you can love, and so that you can continue doing after that. Yeah, because it's the after that that is the rest of your life, Once the retreat is over, it's over. Right? But what you do after that, the consistency that is important. Yeah. So I'm happy with the retreat because I'm able to more or less sort of restore a certain balance. Yeah. In the past 10 over years, after coming back, I've been busy with teaching and counseling, and when I was in the monastery, a lot of admin duties, administrative duties, meetings, and so on. Yeah, so I'm happy to restore a certain balance. Yeah, more akin to the structure I had in US. Yeah, so a certain base set of meditation every day. So then the question is, what about lay people? Yeah, what about lay people? Today's topic, do what you love or love what you do. I like to not just touch on meditation and practices. Yeah. But I want to just cover that first, then perhaps extend it to the rest of your life. So to begin with, it's important to find a certain set of practices that you're comfortable, that you so-called love. Yeah. When I say love here, we can say with a lot of passion, or it can be merely something that you're comfortable with, you're agreeable with. Yeah. And so that you can sustain. Yeah. So that you can sustain. To me, that's important. There's 2 stories that I shared two seniors. They gave me advice on the practice, and it's about sustainability. This is the buzzword these days, isn't it? Yeah, but they told me years back. Should I repeat those stories? Some of you may have heard already. Maybe you all can leave a comment inside the chat whether you all want or need to hear the stories. Yeah. But back to the do what you love or love what you do. Yeah, in fact, this is a concept that I've been sharing. Yeah. So some years back, I was giving a talk in NTU, and one of these students was in her, I think, final year or second year or final year, and was in the midst of the internship, yeah, or getting to do internship. So she had this question, like, she's not sure of what she liked, in terms of her career. So she was a bit, perplexed. So she asked about it during the talk, and after the talk, she continued to consult me. Yeah, and every time she visit me in the Buddhist library, she will take down copious volumes of notes, and she go back home, she will share with her mom. You know who you are. So in the midst of all that, I shared with her, and I think I shared during the talk itself, that many people try to find something that they like to do. Yeah. So this is the first type, do what you love. That means you have decided you love something, and then you go and find it to do. Yeah. A lot of young people these days is stuck here because they are not sure what they love. So they don't know what to do. But the trouble with this approach is, if you haven't tried it, how do you know whether you love? And if you haven't tried it and you think you love, that may be just a preconception. And then as you do it, then you realize, maybe it's not exactly your cup of tea. Then how? Then you have to job hop. You have to move. And maybe you're lucky, after one or two tries, you find something that is so-called a match, a fit. And you really, find yourself immersed in it. Yeah, this become your life. Yeah. But how many people can say that they just managed to find that passion after one or two tries? So the question is, if you can't, then are you going to spend the rest of your life just changing jobs? Yeah. Or for that matter, it doesn't have to be jobs. It can be anything that you are doing. Are you going to just quit because you don't quite love it? Yeah. So the other approach is that whatever you happen to be doing, whether you are tasked to do it or whether it's something that you are doing, yeah, because you need to do it, learn to appreciate it. Yeah, this is what I mean by love what you do. And again, the word love, we would think of a lot of passion, a lot of, yeah. I think it starts off with appreciation of it, to be curious about it, to want to know more about it, and not simply dismiss it without even trying. Yeah, to take it as a challenge to yourself in whatever you do, to try to discover something about it that you didn't know. Yeah. Then you may start to appreciate it deeper, and you may one day come to love what you do. I think one of the Chinese philosopher, can't remember which philosopher, whether it's Zhuangzi or Mengzi or something, said something like this, that If you can love what you do, you will not work another day. You will not have to work another day. Oh, I see that a couple of you say that you want to hear the stories. So, two seniors. One is 智道法师, one is 国化法师. So I think 国化法师, so 国化法师 is from Fakusan, right? But he learned under my teacher for some years. So after my teacher passed away, he visited the US monastery. And so during his visit, we had a bit of a catch up. Yeah. I'm very indebted to him because he's the senior that whom my teacher entrusted me to for him to help me, do the preparation prior to my ordination. Yeah, so I take him as a close mentor. So when he was in US for a visit during the catch-up, so then he asked me how am I and how my practice was. So I was very eager, if you meet someone that you respect, your senior, you want to make them proud, You want to, especially at that point in time, my teacher has just passed away for a while. I wanted him to know that I'm doing good, that I'm making good of myself, that he can be proud of me. But I didn't lie, so I told him, I said, I'm keeping up with the practice. I'm doing about 4 to 5 hours a day, or maybe 5 to 6 hours, and I'm slowly going to increase it to 7 to 8 hours. It's quite funny now that I think back, as a junior, how you wish to get affirmation from your senior. When he heard it, he just nodded, and then when he spoke, he said, good, but for the first 10 years of your ordination, of your monkhood, try to just keep to the schedule in the monastery. About the 4 hours. So 1.5 hours in the morning, about 1.5 hours in the evening, and then plus the walking, should be about 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours. The duration he mentioned is 4 hours. So he said that basically, like, you don't have to go so far as to go 5 to 6 hours. Just do 4 hours, and maintain that. Important thing he said was maintain it for the first 10 years. Just like that is 10 years. Not maintain that for 3 months, maintain that for half a year or 1 year, maintain that for 10 years. At that point in time, my little brain could not process anything except feel insulted. To be very honest, it was quite funny. I mean, it's funny now when I think about it. Back then, not so funny. But then in my mind, I was thinking, wow, 看不起我. Yeah, I was thinking to myself, wow, this senior don't think much about me. Don't think that I can do 5 to 6 hours, 7 to 8 hours. Ask me to just maintain 4 hours for 10 years. And his point was, if you can keep that as a foundation, that's very good already. So I was like a bit perplexed, but since your senior say so I just 依教奉行, like that I will practice as you have instructed. But of course in my mind I'm like, what is this, man? But now thinking back, there's a lot of wisdom in it, and I think it comes from experience also. Accumulated experience. That for one, it's not difficult to do intensive practices for a short time, but to do it for 10 years, that's not easy. And it is the consistent 4 hours for 10 years that will get you somewhere, that will give you that foundation. And notice I mentioned about that it's not 3 months, 6 months, or a year, but 10 years. Yeah. In our monastery in US, the duration that we talk about is all very long. My teacher, when he was commenting on how fast we should finish a certain commentary, the Mahayana Sangraha text, he said, should we just finish one time and then have an exams and then give you the certificate? He said, no. You should study it once, twice, 3 times, 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, until you have penetrated into the meaning, until you have attained enlightenment. Then you qualify. Yeah. Then you are considered to have passed. Yeah. Then you have graduated. Yeah. So this is the whole environment that I started off with, back in US. And I think this is resounded in so many masters in all the different traditions. I don't know of any masters who tell people that, oh, come to my center, come and learn under this tradition, 3 weeks or 3 days. Now the Buddha did give the promise, in the Satipatthana Sutta, that a person can attain arahanthood within 7 years, or even 7 months, 7 weeks, or even just 7 days. But that's not impossible, but that is the minority. For most people, it takes longer than that, and you can see it from the Khuddaka Nikaya under the Therigatha, the verses of the elder monks and nuns. Most of the monks and nuns, they attain enlightenment after decades of practices, not after 7 days. 7 days is the minimum. But the rest, they took a much longer time. So that's the first senior. The second senior is my direct Dharma brother, Zhidao Fa Shi. He shared many things with me, because after my teacher passed away, he's the next most senior in the monastery. And during one of the, and then sometimes after lunch, he will ask me alone, and we'll go for a short walk, and then he will chat with me, and he will try to, guide me. And sometimes in the evening, after the evening service, then we'll chat. So there was one time when and sometimes I will just go and visit him and consult him on things. Because sometimes in the morning or in the afternoon when we have class, then there are certain verses that is quite obtuse, like Bokyu, don't understand what's going on, and so I discuss with him. Or for me, sometimes I may have doubts, questions, or disagreements with the teachings. This problematic monk. So sometimes I'll visit him in his dormitory and in his quarters, and then he will talk to me. So that one time I went over, then he after a bit of chatting, then he said, do you notice that every time you come, I have a book with me? And then I thought about it. I said, yeah, quite true. You always have a book that you are reading. So he said, it's important to build up a habit, that every day without fail, you commit yourself to doing some number of a certain duration of reading. And this is above and beyond our daily classes. 6 times a week. On Sunday there's no class, but we have a 1-day retreat. So retreats is part and parcel of our life. So he said, and Thursday we don't have class. So 5 days. So then he said, every day commit yourself to just half an hour, 1 hour of reading. Yeah. Stick to the timing without fail. That time comes, you sit down, just read. Yeah. You don't have to read through the whole book, but just read a certain number of pages or a certain duration. And he said, if you can persist doing that regularly every day, then over the years there'll be a difference. But you may not observe the difference yourself. But when you meet in the context of our monastery, then he said when you go down, that means 下山, and then you meet up with your peers who don't do regular reading of the Buddhist sutras and the texts, you will see the difference. Yeah, you will notice the progress that you have. Yeah. Otherwise, you may not see the difference, but the difference is there. Yeah, and you need that consistency to build up. So these two seniors, while they share different content, but the underlying message is the same: consistency, regularities. Yeah. Both didn't ask me to like do super intensive practices every day, but to do consistent practices every day. Yeah. And so this retreat, I did a lot of reflection. I did my sitting, walking, and reading, and a lot of reflection. And I got reminded of this. Yeah. And so I thought this is something that I want to. If there's something that I don't know why, but students keep asking me, what can you share what you have from the retreat? Actually, nothing much, just this. Yeah. And so if you can, you have to find your own balance. Shifu cannot tell you, like I cannot tell you, you should do 3 hours. Yeah. That's my own schedule. Yeah. If my schedule permit, I will then top up a bit more, but that's my schedule. If you can do 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, well, go ahead. But if you can do 3, 4, 5 hours, then might as well just join us, I think for most lay people, it can be a bit of a challenge. Yeah, even if you want to, because of your work, because of your family, your friends, you all have a lot of duties and commitments, so a bit tougher. So maybe you can commit to 2 hours. Yeah, maybe you can commit to only 1 hour, or maybe even just half hour. It's okay. Yeah, better than nothing. But don't do nothing. don't do so minimal that that you end up becoming disheartened also. So the thing is, if you put in the minimum, like just 1 minute a day, you have to also expect the corresponding results, right? You cannot expect that you do 1 minute a day, and then within 3 weeks you attain enlightenment. Within 7 days you attain jhana. Statistically a bit tough, a bit unlikely. Yeah. What are the chances that you are one of those past life cultivator who has amassed deep wholesome roots, and all you need is 1 minute a day for 7 days, and then push you over the limit, and boom, wow, you attain jhana. A bit unlikely. Yeah. So set yourself a certain regime that you can love and you can learn to appreciate. Don't do your practices in a mechanical way. Yeah, if you do your practices in a mechanical way, then after a while you become jaded. You know, there's a saying, 学佛一天，佛在心中；学佛don't know 一年，佛在眼前；学佛10年，佛在天边。Yeah. Or is it 念佛? Yeah. And this is about becoming jaded. Yeah. If you do your practices mechanically, just go through motion. Easy to then just not connect with what you are actually doing. So so during the sharing, I shared this, which is, let's say your schedule. How many of you can do 1 hour a day of sitting? How many of you? You all can leave a comment in the chat. Can you all do 1 hour a day? Oh, silence. Okay, no pressure, no pressure. So two things. One, when we talk about practice, it shouldn't be limited to just Ingwi says yes, 1 hour, okay, good. So we have satu orang 1 hour. So the thing is, when we talk about practices, it is not limited to meditation. It shouldn't be 戒定慧, right? And if you look at 六度, 布施, 持戒, 忍辱, 精进, 禅定, 般若, a lot of practices in Buddhism, right? So meditation is just one of the practices, but it's a crucial practice. So try to devote yourself to some practice of meditation. But other forms of practices, you should also bring them in. Yeah. So throughout the whole day, you can do bits and pieces of different practices, isn't it? Yeah. Important thing is, even if it's the minimum, yeah, like it's okay. Better than nothing. Yeah, I'm serious. Not putting anybody down, but saying it very earnestly, very sincerely. If you can only do half an hour or just 20 minutes a day of sitting, then do it. And don't wait for tomorrow to do it. Don't wait for some, when you are free to do it. When you think about it, go and do it. And if you cannot do 20 minutes, do 10 minutes. Cannot do 10 minutes, do 5 minutes. Cannot do 5 minutes, do 2 minutes. Cannot do 2 minutes, do 1 minute. Come on, 1 minute. How many times we wait for the lift and complain that it's taking more than 1 minute? How many times we are at a train station and we complain that the train doesn't come on time? During that time, don't spend your time complaining. Take the time to just meditate. You don't have to, set up an altar and then sit down cross-legged. Where you are, just observe your breath. Then that's good enough. And even more importantly, whether it's 1 minute, 2 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, don't practice passing time. You know what is practice passing time? 过日子. It means when we are doing our practice, really do your practice. So if let's say you are planning to do half an hour of sitting, spend that half an hour examining your breath, really familiarizing yourself with the breath. Take the opportunity to observe this body and mind. Don't think of it as, I have to spend that half an hour. That's called the clock-in meditation. Punch card, you go, you work in a company and then you clock in, clock out, clock in, clock out. Don't do that. But if currently you are at that stage where you are the clock-in meditator, then at least do that. Just clock in first. But if you have been clocking in for 3 months to 6 months, then time to upgrade yourself. Upgrade yourself to go beyond the clock-in meditator. So when you meditate, don't just say, oh, I want to do half an hour, and you are just waiting for half an hour to pass. And then when the bell go ding, wow, you're very happy. Oh yeah, chong ah. You want to get back to the real world and do whatever you want to do. If you have that thought arise, try to catch it. Try to be aware of it. Don't let it become a habit. Then, if not, then your practice time, you are actually planting a different kind of seeds. You are just looking for the practice to end. You are not doing the practice. So, even if it's just 1 minute, spend that 1 minute really examining the breath, really being together with the breath. Observe yourself, this body breathing in. Observe what is happening. As we breathe in, who is breathing? Go and examine. What is breathing? Who is breathing? Is the breath permanent? Is it impermanent? The Buddha say that all conditioned phenomena are impermanent. Is it really true? Go and examine. When we meditate, when pain arises, it feels like the pain is very substantial. But the Buddha say that conditioned phenomena is insubstantial, that they are dependent on conditions, that they are subject to change, they are not inherent. But when it happens, the pain, it feels very inherent. I go and examine it. When our thoughts keep coming, it cannot stop it. It feels like the thought is who we are. It feels like the thoughts it has a life of its own. Go and examine it. Not go along with it. Observe it. See what's happening. Then your 5 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour is not just passing time, not just clocking in. Then you will love what you do. And as a result, you will be doing what you love as well. Then you will look forward to the time where your friend is late. You will look forward to the time where the train is late, and you can just meditate. Then you don't have to bother about all that. But you must also be prepared. All this is nice and all, right? And after this you think, oh yes, that's such a wonderful idea. And then one day you are in a bad form, bad mood, bad form, and then you do something else altogether. And maybe you miss your sitting. So this is where sometimes some students, when they miss one sitting, then they give up. I really sort of break the regime. I just give up. My reply to that is don't. Very simple, and I've shared this in other classes before. Ask yourself. Sometimes when we are very busy, we may miss lunch, isn't it? And when we miss lunch for that day, what do? In all likelihood, we just have a later lunch. And come tomorrow, when our family and friends or colleagues ask us to have lunch, join them for lunch, do we then say, no, I don't want to have lunch because yesterday I missed lunch already, so for the rest of my life I'm not going to have lunch? No, right? You missed lunch yesterday, today you can still have lunch, right? Today you missed lunch, tomorrow you can still have lunch. It's okay, isn't it? Similarly, maybe today your schedule is really bad, and so you just didn't manage to do the full 20 minutes. You just did 1 minute. Only managed to squeeze in 1 minute of awareness, mindfulness. Then tomorrow, you feel disheartened. Really break the regime, don't want to continue. Don't have to. Yesterday missed, today continue. Just now missed, do it now. Don't worry about it. Huh? We don't have to have the kind of 100% or 0%. Okay? Yeah. That's all I have for today. I hope this is helpful for you all in your practice. At the end of the day, it's what we practice that shapes our life, not our wishful thinking. If wishful thinking can just magically shape our life, we should just spend our time thinking, oh, may I become just think. In Buddhism, we make aspiration, but that's just one part of it. Then we go and act on those aspirations. Yeah? So 以愿导行，以行满愿. Yeah. We don't just sit there and just imagine things, hope that it happens. No. Okay. So now we will take a break, and then 3:30 we'll come back. It's 3 o'clock. Yeah, let's just stop now. I know some of you may have questions. If you have questions, you can perhaps just write it into the comments, and maybe next week I can reply to them. Like to start a new habit. Yeah, stop more or less on time and not overrun every week now. Okay. So with that, we'll end today's session. Put our palms together. 愿消三障诸烦恼，愿得智慧真明了，普愿罪障悉消除，世世常行菩萨道。阿弥陀佛。起立。